If you think all the drama at Mercedes is finally over, then I have to disappoint you. After getting beaten on track and losing many high-ranked staff members to rival teams, Mercedes now absolutely embarrasses themselves with their next move. In this video, I will dive deep into what Mercedes decided to do and what massive implications this will have on the team. What did they do? Let's find out. A failed car concept and stubborn management made Mercedes go from an unbeatable team to almost the laughingstock of the F1 grid. Things aren't that bad as they are still the fourth fastest team, but when we put things in perspective, then things are even worse than what it seems. For years, Mercedes under the lead of Hamilton has been dominating the sport. Where Hamilton started the season in 2014 with 22 race wins, he brought that up to 103 by the end of 2021. These unprecedented numbers gave way to lots of praise from both the driver and the team itself. Unfortunately for them, things took a quick turnaround with the introduction of the ground effect. Ever since, we have seen more cracks in the relationship between drivers and Mercedes, but even within the team, there are staff problems. Not only did Mercedes lose main aero specialists to rival teams, they also had to lay off hundreds of people to stay within the budget cap. Ever since Wolff openly proclaimed that fans should not hope for a special turnaround of the team, people are awaiting what is next. Will they finally make the decision to change their aerodynamic concept and follow Red Bull? With an emergency meeting coming together after the Bahrain Grand Prix, Mercedes made a desperate attempt to get things back together. Andrew Shovlin, trackside engineer, already revealed that Mercedes wants to make major changes, but that they are simply not capable of doing that overnight. This not only frustrates the 7-time world champion, but makes him feel unheard. As I have said in my previous videos, Hamilton told BBC Sports that he told the direction they had to go in order to develop their car. However, the engineers and management decided to follow their own path, and as we can see now for 2 years in a row, made quite a mess out of it. Finally, after another confirmation that their car just lacks downforce, there is some movement within the British-German formation. But is it the right one? Chandhok, ex-F1 driver, told Sky Sports that time is running out for Wolff's team and they should take example of how Aston Martin approached their developments last year. They didn't have a good car, they threw aside their egos and threw away the time and effort they had invested. They came up with a copy of the Red Bull car in Barcelona. When I look at the timeline, Mercedes has to think whether they will throw away the first 2 years to get to year 3 tier in a short time. That decision has to be made now. The architecture, layout, and concept does need to be set for all teams by April. Toto already mentioned that they will bring a completely new bodywork to Baku, which is held at the end of April. This bodywork, as he mentioned it, is going to be unique and not a copy of Red Bull or Ferrari. Ironically, after the race, he mentioned that there is only one concept that works, and that is that of Red Bull. Either Toto is sandbagging us and they will bring a Red Bull-like concept, or they are really lost in their development. But did you know that they also made a big mistake during the race itself? Remember Hamilton asking why they wanted him to box for a new set of hard tires when he said that his tires were still in good condition? Shovlin now admits that it was the wrong call to get Hamilton to stop. We did it because Alonso was 2 seconds behind us and was slowly getting closer. That put him in the zone to do an undercut on us. It was a defensive stop. Now as it happens, Alonso had the faster car. He was able to pass on track anyway. If we had known that, we might have accepted that we would lose the position and put Hamilton in a better position to fight Sainz. Could they have seen this coming? Yes. All weekend, Fernando was quicker than both Mercedes drivers, especially in the long runs. Alonso even said to his team that he would keep his patience as he knew they would have better tire degradation. Mercedes could have known that it would have been impossible to keep Alonso behind them. But this is not even the most embarrassing thing they did. No, strong inside rumors suggest that Mercedes is definitely throwing the white towel and offers to support Aston Martin. This is what Express reports. The source said, Mercedes chiefs are said to be willing to pay more attention to give Alonso the fastest engine if their own car fails to perform in the next 2 races, which take place in Saudi Arabia and Australia. What is interesting is that they say that on-track data revealed that Hamilton's car produced about 4 horsepower more than that of the Aston Martins. What is also interesting is that the regulations are clear that engine manufacturers should offer the same engines to all their customers. This prevents manufacturer teams from having a significant advantage. So how would it be possible that Mercedes has the stronger engine anyways? Although the engines must remain the same in nature, one critical component can be different. Fuel. Mercedes uses Petronas fuel, while Aston Martin teamed up with Aramco. It is quite common that teams use different fuel manufacturers to find a competitive advantage over others. In an attempt to increase the total amount of horsepower on the Aston Martin, Mercedes could offer help in the development or even offer the same fuel as they use. 4 horsepower maybe doesn't seem that much, but in a sport where every thousandth of a second counts, it can mean the difference between winning and losing. If this rumor were truly true, and I must say, often where there's smoke there is fire, it would mean another low point for the team that managed to set the most dominant era in the history of the sport. We all know the intense rivalry between Mercedes and Red Bull. The current performance of the British-German formation isn't doing their reputation any good, so helping out a team that could challenge Red Bull with one of their engines somehow would minimize this reputation damage. Nonetheless, it is showing the problems Mercedes faces. Another problem that might occur is the situation with Hamilton. It is Lewis's last season under his current contract. Earlier this week, he admitted that he is still motivated to fight for his 8th world title and is determined to continue driving in F1 until he finally reaches that goal. Not even that long ago, it was unthinkable that Lewis and Mercedes would separate. But with Lewis being frustrated that his team didn't listen to him and him being 38 years of age, he has to make sure that his next moves in his career are the right ones. Fernando proves that the right choice can mean fighting for podiums or in the midfield. The Spaniard, who has been unfortunate with his choices in his past, finally seems to have made the right choice in the final stage of his career. By the way, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's continue. While fans love to see Fernando back on the podium, experts give Mercedes even more backlash for them being beaten by a non-manufacturer team. As a response, Wolff hinted that they will work towards developing 1 car instead of 2 due to the budget cap. He said, "We are not going to develop 2 cars side by side, but we can develop 1 car, and we want to decide in the next few days and weeks which car that will be." He continued, "It is pretty clear where we should be going. We just need to make the data work. The most important is really establishing a solid baseline, saying, this is where we are, and there are no surprises in the direction." Lazenby, a Sky Sports presenter, made a very harsh but true statement. All dynasties fall, don't they? This is what has happened at Mercedes. They have lost James Voles, Andy Cowell, James Allison, and more than that, they lost about 15 engineers to Red Bull powertrains. But even then, it is quite frightening when you think it is a customer car who beat them in Bahrain, isn't it? Lazenby did touch a good point. All dynasties fall. Where we saw Ferrari dominate between 2000 to 2005, we saw Red Bull do the team between 2010 to 2013, and most recently, Mercedes between 2014 to 2020, and to an extent, 2021. It seems a new dynasty has risen, with Red Bull once more leading the pack. Do you think Mercedes can still save the sinking ship, or should they accept their loss and support Aston Martin to put up a fight with Red Bull? Do you think Hamilton will stay with Mercedes next year? Let me know in the comments section below.